Hey guys, Dozer here bringing you a new video. Today is the day after the first day of the Yokohama ProQuest season, and I just got second place at the ProQuest in Johnson City, Tennessee. I wanted to share what I brought. I obviously brought Prism, and how it went, and just walk you through the deck list with the new Angelic Attendant card, talk about it a little bit, and talk about my matchups so that you can potentially bring Prism to your ProQuests and have the same success I did. So let's go through the learnings and the experience. So right off the bat, Prism, obviously Light Illusionist hero, very good at throwing big Herald attacks and then converting those into ward value with angels, and then creating auras sometimes and overwhelming your opponent with the board state. Very powerful hero. Love Prism overall. So one thing we start off with is our Empyrean Rapture. Chess piece lets you flip your angels for free if you hit the Herald that turn, or if it goes in your soul. It provides a good amount of value over the course of the game and presents a lot of threat. A lot of decks have to really block you out a lot because they know that you are going to heal for 4 and potentially deal 4. It unlocks very small hands for you. It's very good. Beyond that, we did run Calming Gesture in the sideboard. This is normally Arcane Barrier, but sometimes in some matchups, it's good as just a way to get 1 extra prevention when you know you're not going to get really threatened in a lot of other ways. I went pretty lean on equipments this time, and so I didn't have a ton of flex slots, and so I went with just the Calming Gesture and the Dreamweavers as the default choice. Now, I normally hate Dreamweavers as a card. I find it to be really gimmicky, and a lot of the times you don't realize the value from it because your opponent just may never have a popper in the first place. However, when you really need that card to go through, or when you line up a certain Herald with a Angelic Wrath, you really do want this card to guarantee that it's not going to get popped. So it is a useful card, but it is not my favorite card ever to run. Beyond that, we did run the Luminaris Angel's Glow. This is the standard weapon for Prism these days. You can give your Heralds Go again by pitching yellow cards. Mostly, the only thing this really affects for you is that you don't need to run as many blue cards as you would with the other Luminaris that's currently legal, Luminaris Celestial Fury. And it lets you have a 2-card Herald of Erudition play, where it gets Go again, and then you can keep playing your turn. In a lot of cases in the old Luminaris, right, the second Luminaris that came out, Celestial Fury, the Herald of Erudition was a much worse card, so this one lets you use your cards much more efficiently. Rewards you for having that high density of yellows. We also have Phantasmal Footsteps. Footsteps is a very powerful card for Prism. It's pretty much mandatory. It's the only leg slot that I ran, so that if you have a Phantasm card destroyed, like a Herald, then you can get your action point back and continue your turn. So it's important for forcing through big plays, and sometimes it can cover breakpoints, so good card. Some notable, so Prism's been kind of solved for a while. We kind of know this as the Prism community. There's really not been a lot of new cards printed for her, and so there's not been a ton of innovation for her because you can't really run a lot of generic cards effectively. You need a lot of synergy in your deck to function because you need these Heralds, you need Figments, and so I'll start off with the cards that are not standard includes that I did run. So the first thing that I ran is the new Light Illusionist card, which will become a mandatory inclusion for Prism going forward. Angelic Attendant is a 0-cost, 3-block yellow Light Illusionist card, which is an action that says awaken target Figment you control and put this into your soul with Go Again. So this card's insane. It's basically soul food, but has Go Again and blocks 3. Now, why is that the case? Well, normally when you use Prism's ability, you have to spend a soul to flip an angel. Now, with Angelic Attendant, you not only don't have to spend the soul that flips the angel, but you also get this card into your soul. So this card is worth 2 whole soul, which is insane because that's basically half of a soul food, and it doesn't trigger your hero power or anything, but being able to do this with Go Again makes this and any yellow or blue card a 2-card 8 or 2-card 10 if you want to use that soul. And if you use it with your Figment of Erudition, then you're doing a 2-card 4-card play because now you're going with a board 4 Angel with 4 damage into 2 other cards that you can play. So Angelic Attendant is very powerful, especially a pitch into the late game. In fact, I'm finding myself blocking with it early with 1 copy, so that when I get the Figment of Rebirth, I can put this on top of my deck and kind of get a tempo Angelic Attendant, or just guarantee a yellow pitch, right, for my next turn. So normally that works out pretty well for me. I did run the Figment of Tenacity as well, which did come up in one matchup to get Dominate, but generally it was more relevant for just having that extra ward value. Because Angelic Attendant is now a card that we have, you can more aggressively use your soul, and you don't have to be so defensive with your Figment usage. And so having that extra Figment really helps you get all the value out of your Angelic Attendants, so you don't run out of them in the deck, so if you get to the end of the game, you still have targets for them. And Figment of Tenacity is good at closing out games, and is a pretty card, and I wanted all 8 Figments in the deck. But it worked out really great. Like, it worked out fantastically. I never really regretted it. I always had a Figment to pull off of Prism, even in really long fatigue matchups, which a lot of my matchups did go to. All right, and then so beyond that, I did run Shelter from the Storm. This was my flex slot. I could have run another couple cards in this slot, but I did run it, and it did work out very well for me. I played this against Syndras and Fangs and pretty much any aggressive deck, and it's a 0 for 4 D-React. It's really good. Sometimes it threatened to prevent Syndra daggers, which it did perfectly fine. And so Shelter from the Storm, great card. What can you say? It's an expensive card for a reason. And having that ability to have that modality on the Flick Knives prevention and stuff is really important. So you could run Sink Below in this case as well, but I ran Shelter and it was very powerful. Beyond that, everything else is pretty standard these days, but I'll go through it now. We've got, as far as our Light Illusionist package, we are naturally going to be running all the colors of Protection, Triumph, and Wartune Herald. We were running Arclight Sentinel, of course, Angelic Wrath Yellow. We ran every Figment, just straight up every Figment card. We ran Genesis, Herald of Erudition, Judgment, Protection Yellow, Ravages Yellow. We actually ran Yellow Herald of Rebirth because we were worried about getting fatigued, and so it was I thought about running even more copies of it than that, but the yellows were plenty. It was fine. I did not run Herald of Tenacity. I ran Herald of Triumph. I ran Merciful Retribution. I ran Wartune Herald on all colors. And then we had, I think I might have missed clicking on it. No, we got it. All right, cool. And then we had the blue Heralds here. I thought about running the blue Rebirths in the same slot as, I believe, the Shelters, but I ended up not doing that. It was one of the other cards I was considering was blue Angelic Wrath, which in the end would have, I think, won me the event if I was able to cut slightly different ratios of some stuff just so I could get over some more attacks. So I think there's still room to tweak the deck list with access to a bit more of that combat trick action, but overall it worked out okay. And then we had, as far as light cards, we had the Library of Solana, Great Library. We had Halo of Illumination, of course. We had Vestige of Soul. And we only have a couple more cards left to add here. Trying to just think really quick. I did not run Soul Shield, notably. Soul Shield has been replaced for me with Angelic Attendant because it blocks 3 instead of having to do 2 cards to block 6. The Shelters kind of came in and substituted for that Soul Shield defense reaction action as well. It's more efficient than Soul Shield. And you don't really need the extra soul anymore. With Angelic Attendant, the soul that you would get from Soul Shield is kind of even outdone by Angelic Attendant when it goes off. So there's that. I had Light of Soul. And then we had 2 more 3-ofs, which one of those is an Illusionist card. And then the other we will see. So we had Lost in Thought as the other, one another of our sideboard cards. So Lost in Thought's interesting because it lets you rip apart people's hands unconditionally and kind of find the best thing to get rid of. The awkward thing for Prism is that she often can't efficiently play this and another 2 cards. So your 5-card plays with this are kind of hit or miss. You need to have a blue or a War Tune Herald and 2 double yellows to do this and still swing 2 Heralds, or combine this on a turn with like a Herald of Erudition or a Angel of Erudition in order to leverage all your cards. But it is really good when it happens. I mean, I played this against a lot of heroes like Syndra and Dio, and I was able to very importantly take out key cards from their hands so that I could throw back a full hand on my turn as well. So it's a really, really powerful card, but sometimes you'll use this and your opponent won't have any attacks in their hand, depending on the deck they're playing, and then you can really be sad. So you have to be careful about who you play it into and when you deploy it, but it can be very high ceiling. So there is that. And then beyond that, I think the last card would have been, and here I go blanking. I don't think it was a red card. It must have been a yellow card. Maybe a yellow. Anyway, that's basically the entire deck. I'll, at least in the deck list description down below, I will complete it. But yeah, that's the deck. So anyway, I'll go over my matchups now. Round 1, faced off against the KO, armed and dangerous. He was beating the crap out of me early game, but because I was able to go and I was able to get an Arclight Sentinel down in response to his Blood Rush Bellow when I was at 2 life. He then rolled his Scab Skins to try and kill me, and he rolled a 1. I mean, he rolled the die, he rolled a 1, and then his turn was over. So I was like, sweet. I drew up my hand because I had to use all my cards for that. I had an angel on board as well. I had like a whatever angel. And then he went to go roll Scabs again and rolled a 1, right? Crazy. And so we were able to salvage that game because of his bad luck. And so we were able to claw our way back in with Merciful Retribution and Genesis and Aegis, Angel of Protection, shields, and everything. So we were able to get back there in the end. So that was round 1. Round 2, I played against the Kasai. The Kasai had 6 poppers and at least 9 to 12 D-reacts. So he was able to grind me down by constantly chipping away at my life and making efficient plays while using a ton of armor to prevent me from really getting a foothold on the Herald plan. So he was, and he was always able to cover my Wraths with his D-reacts. So it was unfortunate, but that's where the Wraths, the blue Wraths that I was thinking of running would have come in clutch for. So there you have it. Then for, did I miss anything in here? I'm just thinking. Okay. Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Blue Illusionist, Passing Mirage was my final play set. There we go. And generally, I just kept all of the auras in the sideboard, by the way. I pretty much run Herald Plan into everything, unless I know that I can run some other stuff. So theoretically, if I had to do it again, I might have gone down to maybe 2 Lost in Thought, and maybe taken Library out. Honestly, I never ran it the entire tournament, and I could even see myself cutting down. Even then, 2 Wraths, 2 blue Wraths would have been really good. So I think I would do that now. But anyway, so second round was Kasai. He blocked a lot, had a lot of poppers. If I had a little bit more attack reaction action, maybe I could have gotten over it. But he played very well, and so he beat me. Round 3 was against the Syndra. I got off to a very early start against the Syndra and was able to clutch it out. So we were able to pressure the Syndra before they could really, before the guy could really get me, and so we won that one. When Prism gets on the front foot against Syndra, it's pretty good for her. So there you have it. Round 4 was also against a Syndra. I was able to use a Herald of, an Angel of, Figment, of Ravages off of Halo to ping my own face to counter a targeted Angel attack, and then close out the game from there. Round 5, I suppose, yeah. Round 5 was against a... Oh yeah, Dash IO. Yeah, I played against the Dash IO, and my opponent was playing super quickly and was just trying to rush me down, but a clutch Lost in Thought was able to steal his only blue out of his hand when he had Max V in Arsenal. He was never able to cast that Max V. It was stuck there the whole rest of the game, and I was able to force him, then just wear him down with Heralds. So that was the 4-1 through Swiss, and then we went into top 8. Round 1 in top 8 was against a Fang. He never got his fealties online. He only ever had 1 or 2, and then he had to lose them often. And then eventually he did get them, but it was way too late in the game. I just was letting him hit me so I could use my full 5-card hand when he was at like 7 or something, or 4 or something. I basically used Heralds and pressured him all game, and because Fang doesn't block that great, then I was able to nearly fatigue him through damage. But it was mostly just a tempo game. Then that was a win, and we went to semifinals, and that was against a Gravy, which was a very long game. I went, again, Herald plan, and I tried to pressure him while keeping his board clear, which was my main concern about using auras. If I drew a hand of all auras, I wouldn't be able to kill any allies, so I was very concerned about that, and so I ran the Herald plan, and I was attacking his face as much as I could in the early game, and then when he started getting some allies out, I would clear the ally, then send face, and we kept kind of doing that resource trading. I would use the angels where I could to, guarantee kill the ally with a herald, get the angel, and then kill something else, and where I could. And then I was able to just trade very well throughout the rest of the game, and then fatigue my opponent through damage. Killed all of his zombies in the entire deck, and Herald of Rebirth would have been really good, which I did run, but I didn't use it to attack allies, and so it was often blocked. But honestly, getting 2 cards out of their deck instead of removing an ally from them and then getting 1 card back in mine ended up working out okay. I had plenty of attacks left in the deck by the end. Gravy uses so many cards that my opponent had like 5 cards left in deck when I still had like 25, so I had plenty of block left in the deck to still close it out. Even my opponent, just swung 6 all game with Rigor Mortis or whatever it was. So that was a win. And then in the finals, the Kasai was somehow able to beat Averdance, and we had a rematch. So he was playing the same strategy he was before, and I tried to think about, do I go auras into this Kasai because I know he's more defensive, and I decided to kind of split the difference. I ran Merciful Retribution and Arclight Sentinel, and then I ran the rest of... I took out the shelters, and I ran all the other more aggressive cards because I took out the Lost in Thoughts. But what ended up biting me is that I didn't have those attack reactions to get over, like the Angelic Wraths. So while I fought as valiantly as I could, my opponent had the right game plan, had the right sideboard, had the right tech with the anti-Prism cards. Again, red Battlefront Bastions, those 7 power poppers were nuts to deal with, and so they also had nourishings and stuff, so it just is how it went. So all in all, I felt like it was a good run. Prism performed very well for me. Going back into it, I would probably cut Great Library's Lana, as well as 1 copy of Lost in Thought for 2 more copies of Blue Angelic Wrath, and I'd call it a day. I think the deck is really strong. I think the new card, Angelic Attendant, is especially strong. Really enjoy this card. It's really powerful. And I think that going forward, we will see Prism do quite well in this metagame. She does quite well into Gravy and Verdance, as well as does okay into Syndra, Dash IO and Astilio, and all these other really aggressive combo characters. And she has room to be more aggressive or more defensive, depending on what the meta demands. I think the removal of some of the Flick Knives characters makes it a bit easier for her to maintain her angels, and obviously Syndra still has that, but I think if you really lean on your Heralds of Protections when you go to flip your angels, then you can get a ton of value out of Prism. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope the deck list will be of use to you in the ProQuests to come. I don't think I can go to many more, so maybe I should have, ran those Blue Wraths instead, but whatever. We had a lot of fun, had some good games, so feel free to take this deck list and go use it for what you need to. And I hope you guys have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, shout out to everyone who was at the ProQuest that we went to. Everyone there was super nice, and it was super great experience all around. And so shout out to just everybody that was there. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye.